I'm Katrina, and this is Sow and Tare, and today I want to talk about working full-time and homesteading. As many of you guys already know, I do work full-time, and luckily I do work from home, but I do work full-time, and homesteading is often seen as a full-time endeavor, and I would love to have that be the case, that I would be able to afford that, but I can't. So, working full-time and taking care of animals, taking care of garden, all of that, it can be complicated, especially in winter when you have weather and you have very little light to do things by. So, I want to go through a few things that have helped me manage homesteading stuff with these limitations. So, first up, decide whether you're a morning or evening person. Because you're going to be doing something outside of your normal, working hours, right? I'm an evening person. I'm a night owl, always have been, not a morning person. So I invest in flashlights. They have these that are, super bright, and you can narrow them so they're super, super bright. And then also I used to, well, I actually still have it somewhere, but I have a wristwatch like thing, but it's a light. So you can have your hands free and be able to do that. And then this is what I've been using now. It's a headlamp. It's super bright. You guys have seen me in mostly weekend reviews where I start talking like this. You're like, oh, what that silly headband? It's an LED light. It's super bright, and I recommend this. My dad got this for me. And so that is one thing, is no matter what, especially in winter, depending on where you are, you're going to need a light. You're going to need a variety of lights, and you're going to want your hands free. So if that means having a headlamp or a wrist lamp, and then also I like to have, if I'm going anywhere away from the house, away from like further out, like when the animals are in the pasture, I also like to have one of these with me, because this will go further. Headlamps and stuff like that, it'll be really good light, but it's mostly for closer things. And because we have, different wildlife, different predators and all that, I like to have this. Now, in my area, you may also consider some sort of protection, and I have, there's bear spray and there's other sorts of protection. And so having that with you during those times when you're away from the house is probably a good idea. So, that's something to think about, is you are going to do something homesteading related in the dark, and that's something to think about, internalize, accept, and move to the next thing. Because unless you live near the equator and have light all the time, winter is going to be the most challenging as far as light and getting things done. In the summertime, there's tons of daylight. You can get stuff done while it's light. So there's limitation, there's my solution. Decide whether you're a morning person or an evening person, and go with that. Now, another thing you can set up once you probably already know, if you're a morning person or evening person, is you can plan your feeding schedule or plan your animal activity schedule around whether you're an evening or a morning person. Now, for me, the chickens have free feed at all times, free water at all times, so I'm not concerned about them every day. Collecting eggs, they lay not early morning, they lay like, mid to late morning, and so I usually collect those at night or in the evening, sometimes in the middle of the day. Quail, which I used to have and will have again, they lay in the evening time, so you're going to want to get out there at night anyway. So they lay in the afternoon, the evening, whereas chickens lay in the morning and mid-morning. The That's been my experience, at least. And then with the rabbits, rabbits get fed once a day. When they have babies, I give them free feed and I check on them, twice a day, especially when the babies are out and eating feed with mom. Because at that point, they will need feed twice a day. But sans babies, I feed in the evening. A lot of people do their morning chores and they do their, morning feedings and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter if you do it in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, in the middle of the night. Doesn't matter, as long as you keep it roughly about the same. So as long as they're on a schedule, they don't mind. They will eat what they want to eat when they want to eat it. And then, by the time you come around to feed them again at the same time of day, they should be about out of food or somewhere either on either side of either almost out of food or already out of food. And so that is something to think about, is to just because other people do something a certain way or during a certain time, it doesn't mean you have to. So like I said, I'm a night owl. I'm out in the evening. I tend to feed my animals a little bit later, just so I can have them wait less time if I do something in the evening. So if I do something in the evening, if there's an evening activity, getting together with people or whatever, I can stay out a little later without, worrying, oh my gosh, they're going to be so hungry, because they have a little bit of, schedule already built in. So that's me. A lot of people will be morning people and will do that completely differently. But there's my suggestion there. Now, another thing to have is a calendar. And I have a calendar on my phone. I also have a calendar on my refrigerator. You have to plan things out. When you work full time, and especially in the winter when you don't have sunlight after work, basically, sun's going down pretty early, guys. It is really, really important to have some sort of calendar and to keep up on that. So you can have a breeding calendar, or you can have separate calendars for separate things, or you can have them all in one calendar. You do it the way you want to do it. So you can have a breeding calendar, you can have a planting calendar, you can have a, hey, these are tasks I need to get done calendar. Making lists and planning when you're going to do things is really important when having a full-time job. If you work part-time, or if you are homesteading full-time, you have more flexibility to get things done. And when you work full-time, a lot of the daylight is gone, no matter if it's summer or winter. But a lot of the daylight is gone already, just because during your daylight hours is your working hours. So planning a schedule of when you're going to do things is going to be very, very important. Now, on Thursday's live, we're going to be talking about kind of a bigger scale of plants and planting and when to do those kinds of things. So make sure you check out the live chat this Thursday. But when you have things in your schedule, you're more likely to do them. You can set alarms, you can not set alarms. Something I tend to do is I tend to make lists and then number them, and you can either do that on the phone or on paper or on whiteboard, whatever, and you can move them around. And something to realize in life in general, but especially in homesteading, your priorities will change. So let's say, you're going to plant seeds, but you also need to breed the rabbits, and you choose to breed the rabbits, and it takes them forever to get 3 fall-offs. Well, if you do that, you no longer have enough light for seeds, so then you make your decision, do I plant my seeds or do I go to bed? Do I plant my seeds or do I have dinner first? And it's okay once you've made a list, to rearrange it again, reprioritize again. It happens all the time. And I think that's something really important for people to know, because it's not something that is commonly talked about, is that your schedule and your to-do list will be moved around. And sometimes it's super annoying because you're like, I really want this one thing to get done, but it has to be number 10. And it's been number 10 for 4 months, but I really want to get it done. Now, if you have something like that, sometimes it's worth it. If it doesn't take that much time, just pop it up to the top of the list, get it done. You'll feel better. It's not important as the rest. It's not as important as the rest, but you will feel better. So, yeah, time management is going to be very, very important. And so figuring out if you are a morning or evening person, and then also knowing your schedule and your to-do list, be organized in that is going to help tremendously. So, now, because I do work from home, if I need to do something and I need to get something done and it absolutely has to get done, luckily for my work, I can say, okay, well, I'm going to work 2 extra hours today so I can do something tomorrow, right? I can move things around. But I know not everybody has that flexibility, and I'm thankful that my work does have that flexibility, because it is really, really valuable to be able to get things done when they need to get things done, or when they need to be gotten done. But scheduling and then making sure that you're doing everything and everything's getting done. So, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of people don't listen to themselves and listen to what they're doing. For a long time, I fed the rabbits in the morning. And honestly, if I have someone, like where I used to live, the person I would have feed rabbits, she was a pre-dawn morning person. Pre-dawn. So the week before, I would change the rabbits' feeding schedule so that they would get fed in the morning. And you do that slowly. You just change it, a few hours every day, so that instead of in the evening, they're getting it early in the morning. And that way she could do it in her own time, in her super ridiculous morning time. Great neighbor. And she could get that done. But then when I came back, I would, take a week to put them back onto the evening schedule. And it's easy to do. You just have to figure out, how many days it might take you to do it. So anyway, I hope that kind of explains a little bit about working full-time and doing some homesteading. Another thing to think about is homesteading isn't a full-time job all the time. So talking about having a full-time job that's off, not homesteading. But sometimes homesteading feels like a full-time job. I mean, when rabbits need to be butchered and there's a bunch of eggs to take care of into something, and there's, stuff in the garden and that needs canning up and all that, it's another full-time job sometimes. And knowing how to handle that, how to schedule it so everything gets taken care of, or how to reprioritize so not everything gets taken care of, or maybe not everything gets taken care of the way you want. So you may choose to freeze some things instead of can them, or you're going to freeze some things and you're going to have to freeze dry it later. There's a lot of things that can be modified and be acceptable to you, although it's not exactly what you wanted. And that happens. So it happens, accept it. It's fine. You'll do fine. So yeah. So, and then the other thing is, homesteading doesn't have to be growing all your food all the time, right? Right now I'm still in the infrastructure mode. So, I will do a garden expansion. I need to put in fencing for that. I need to put in fencing for the chicken run to be redone. And eventually I'll be doing more fencing for the food forest. And I'm planning for the food forest. I need to have someone cut down the trees that are by the house because I don't want that responsibility. But there's some other work that needs to happen before that can happen. So there is a order of operations, and like I said, while I really want this one thing to be done, there's steps to get there, and accepting that is really important for your stress. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave a little bit of clarity, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you also work while homesteading, or if you have a question about how to deal with something, you know, hey, you work full time and I really want to do this, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it at live chats. You can put it into the comments here, and we'll respond back. And yeah, let me know. Let me know what tips and tricks you have if you are homesteading and you know, living life, working full time. So go ahead and leave the comments there, and hopefully people find that helpful. And thank you for watching. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy knowing you guys are getting something out of this. And yeah, so thank you, and we will see you next time. Please like, subscribe, and share it around, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.